Shiva, over to you. Now, please, Stefan.
Warm welcome to all our distinguished participants. UNDP and UNICEF Regional Office in Europe and Central Asia, very pleased to welcome you to this virtual event today to launch our joint STEM4ALL platform for advancing gender equality. I'm Shiba Harma, Regional Gender Advisor for UNICEF in Europe and Central Asia. Before we proceed into the event, please take note, the session will be recorded. All participants will be muted, and comments and questions are very welcome and shared via the chat function. This event will be in English with Russian translations. Please check the directions that will be given in the chat for listening to the Russian translation. We've had a lot of participants today registered, and the force of the participants and the interest that we see in this event, we see that as a strong indicator to the relevance and need for a bigger, bolder, practical support, solutions, a collaboration, a community of practice, and investments indeed to advance gender equality in STEM. So thank you all for your very valuable time taken to join us today. We have a line of inspiring speakers from government, private sector, girl leaders who will address the challenges, the solutions, but also opportunities that are shaping STEM and the digitalization for an equal future. So for the warm greetings today and the welcome address that we are now moving into, we are very honored to have with us from UNDP, Mirjana Sporliak, Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Assistant Administrator for UNDP, and Director of the Regional Bureau for Europe and CIS. And we also have Afshan Khan, UNICEF Regional Director for Europe and Central Asia, and the Special Coordinator, Refugee and Migrant Response in Europe. May I first turn to Mirjana for the opening remarks. Thank you. Yes, Mirjana, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Good morning, Shiva. Good morning, colleagues. I'm very happy on behalf of UNDP to welcome you today at the launch of STEM4ALL, our digital platform. And I'm very pleased to do this jointly with Afshan, the Regional Director for UNICEF, which is our partner agency in this flagship initiative. This is one of my last assignments, so to say, during my time in UNDP. But for the last 4 years since I've joined, I've always been a strong advocate for women in STEM. And it is very important for me to see this initiative thriving. Because technology and science are intrinsically linked to the future of the labor markets. And we have to make sure that women are not left behind. But women are already trailing behind in our Europe and Central Asia region. There is a 5% gender gap in mobile internet use. Women represent half of the population, but are significantly less than half of the ICT workforce and researchers in relevant fields. On average, women are 4 times less likely than men to have advanced ICT skills. And as a result, women occupy jobs with less status and decision-making power. Fortunately, we are seeing some progress and encouraging changes in these trends. The number of initiatives in the region combating gender barriers in STEM is growing, and many of these are led by our country offices and our national partners. For example, the Engineer Girls of Turkey, a joint UNDP project with Limak and the Turkish government, is helping to increase opportunities for qualified young women in engineering. And our region-wide accelerator program for women-led startups and nonprofit organizations that use technology to advance gender equity is another initiative helping us to bridge the gender gaps in STEM. But we still have a long way to go. Employers increasingly depend on the inclusion of women talents, and we know that. To sustain and attract a vital human capital, business and policymakers must implement targeted measures to ensure women's equal access to education and jobs in the STEM fields. We also must do more to systematically combat contrary social norms. We have to promote women's confidence to enter and seek opportunities in the STEM fields. And above all, and here I'm speaking of experience, we must ensure that women can reach top positions in wherever they work. STEM4ALL seeks to do just this. We wanted to create a platform which brings together different actors in the STEM ecosystem to cultivate networks, profile leaders and trailblazers, to share knowledge and launch joint initiatives. Together with UNICEF, we are present in 21 countries and territories in the region. We have the capacities, local knowledge, and the networks, and diverse partners to expand advocacy, spark public dialogue, and forge connections that will ultimately help shape policies that advance women and girls in STEM education and careers. I thank you all for being here. I thank UNICEF, and I want to thank Shiba and Bharati for having led this initiative, for having brought our expertise together to help us bring this platform to life, which we are launching today. Thank you very much, and Shiba, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mariana Spoljaric, and for your emphasizing also, I would say, the need to push the gender boundaries and bridge the gaps in STEM, to also tap into the capabilities of women and girls. As you said, we're all very excited with the growing STEM4ALL community in the region. May I now invite Afshan Khan, Regional Director for UNICEF and Special Coordinator for the Refugee and Migrant Response in Europe. Afshan, over to you.
Thank you, Shiba, and good afternoon and welcome to everyone. It's a pleasure to organize today's launch event together with UNDP and present our STEM4ALL platform to partners, experts, as well as girls and women across Europe and Central Asia. The jobs and workspaces of today are becoming more and more technologically intensive, and the need for digital and ICT skills has never been greater, especially for children and young people making up the next generation of workers. Even though girls are in school more today than ever before, they are held back by gender biases, social norms, and expectations that influence their quality of education and subjects of study. Girls are underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM education, and therefore in STEM careers, representing only 1/3 of all STEM university graduates. With 90% of the world's future jobs projected to require STEM skills, if these trends continue, girls and women will be left further behind from equal economic and social participation. To help address this, UNICEF and UNDP have launched STEM4ALL, a virtual space for information, exchange, advocacy, research, and collaboration to promote gender equality and inclusion in STEM across the region and beyond. Targeting a broad audience, including girls, women, parents, caregivers, policymakers, educators, private sector, and civil society organizations, STEM4ALL aims to raise awareness and drive support to STEM, connect girls with peers and mentors, and as well as role models, and provide information on new opportunities. What is most unique about this platform is that girls and young women in our region have engaged with us and shared their views on how to make the platform more useful and accessible. So today we'll also hear from them about the challenges they face and their hopes for the future. As Mirjana said, this partnership is a milestone in the collaboration between UNICEF and UNDP, and will build on the complementary strengths of our two organizations. As the lead agency devoted to children's needs around the world, UNICEF has been actively engaged in advancing girls' education and skills and empowering them from early childhood to adolescence. Currently, we have programs on STEM and digital skills for girls in more than 12 countries in Europe and Central Asia. In Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan, girls and young women have created and launched nanosatellites into the stratosphere to analyze air pollution. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, girls and teachers in primary schools have developed digital skills using robot equipment in collaboration with the ICT sector. In Ukraine, we've been engaged in Science is She, a program that promotes girls and women's leadership in technology and innovation. UNDP, too, has a strong track record in promoting gender equality and women's empowerment through a diverse range of programs, knowledge, products, advocacy campaigns, and capacity building tools. Under Mirjana's leadership, they've been supporting women entrepreneurs in preparing for the digital transformation of their businesses, developing technical skills for girls and women to develop their own startups, and holding STEM boot camps where young women can learn programming and website development, among other skills. All of these programs continue to show us that STEM skills can be a powerful tool for women and girls to rebuild confidence in their abilities, create innovative solutions to tackle social issues, and challenge norms and gender stereotypes. But for every girl and woman to have an equal opportunity to be engaged in STEM education and skills, we must work together to build an inclusive, systemic approach that ensures girls and women have access to quality education and training and can acquire the skills and knowledge to succeed in life. In doing this, we're not only empowering girls and women, but we move closer to the achievement of the 2030 Agenda and a better world for all, including boys and men. I look forward to continuing our collaboration with all the key stakeholders in this effort and to engaging even more with innovators, donors, and partners to open doors for girls and women across our region and beyond. So thank you again for joining us, and now back to Shiva.
Thank you very much, Afshan. Indeed, as you said, a systemic approach that ensures that girls and women have access to and can acquire the skills and knowledge to succeed is very essential. And you said STEM skills can be a very powerful tool also as technology workspaces become quite technologically intensive, as you said. And so thank you again to Mirjana and Afshan for also stressing jointly the importance of the UNDP-UNICEF partnership that builds on a very complementary strength and our collaborative advantage as well. I'm now pleased to pass the floor to Bharati Sadashivam from UNDP, Team Leader Gender Equality, Europe and Central Asia region. Bharati, over to you.
Thank you very much, Shiva, and many thanks to all our honored guests, participants who are here today. We're delighted to have nearly 200 people on board for this launch event that we are so excited to launch with UNICEF this afternoon, and with all of you who have helped us to co-create this platform over the last year. And you will meet some of our co-creators in the next session of this program. So we started this platform as to look at gender equality in STEM, not only ICT fields, but also very much sciences, mathematics and engineering, to see where the gender gaps are and how we can close them, because these are fields, all these fields are extremely important, both in the digital transition and in the green transition of work today. So we started last year, and very quickly we partnered with UNICEF, and we have together reaching out to a much wider constituency of stakeholders. So what we call the STEM ecosystem, starting with families and communities, educators, employers, activists, community organizations, and as well as students and STEM aspirants. So the whole idea of this coming together is very much to reach as many people who are interested in this field, foster connections and networks and partnerships so that we can really work on all angles to advance gender equality in STEM. So we also benefited very much from a very targeted user research that we did, also in partnership with UNICEF, which helped us to update the content and make it much more focused to what our audiences expect from us. So what I would like to do now is hand over to Tiffany Sprague, who is our coordinator for the STEM4ALL platform. And she will give us a quick tour of the platform, just to give you a glimpse of what you can find there and what you can access. So Tiffany, over to you.
Thank you, Bharati. Share my screen. Okay. So yes, as Bharati said, I'm Tiffany Sprague. I'm the platform coordinator, and I'm very pleased to be with all of you today to give you a brief tour of the updated STEM4ALL digital platform. As you can see, like, digitalization has done so much for us in terms of making connections and knowledge exchange much more easy. And so we're leveraging this technology this time to build this platform to bring people of all profiles and stakeholders into this platform to exchange knowledge, to connect with each other, and to collaborate. As Bharati and others have mentioned, our driving principle is to really hone in on this STEM ecosystem approach, a coordinated approach. And that is why this platform really does not just reach women and girls, but it reaches everyone from the community, from families to universities to individuals and policymakers and private sector to come together and share, and so that we can bring into public dialogue what are the opportunities and gaps in STEM. So under the gender and STEM section, really quickly, if you want to come and know and get a better understanding of what the status of women in STEM are in the Europe and Central Asia region, you can get here data by country, the share of women in STEM education and STEM careers, and familiarize yourself with the key gender barriers that continue to hold women and girls back in this region. Under the Connect section, this is a public space, really. It's for all of you to advocate and to raise awareness of all the good activities and the efforts that are going on throughout the region to advance women and girls in STEM. So here you can find blogs and articles, blogs and articles, tools and resources that really shed light on girls and women's achievements in STEM. Here you can meet inspiring Steminists. We know that there's not enough visibility on the amazing efforts and women and girls who are already breaking gender barriers to advance in STEM fields. So we're collecting stories from throughout the region to bring visibility and to highlight it. And so if you in the audience are a woman or a girl in STEM, we invite you to share your story, share your journeys, your successes and challenges. And you can click on this button here in the lower right-hand corner called Share Your Story, and we'll be happy to profile that for you. And then we curate events. We will co-host events with our partners, or if people in the community want to host and use the STEM4ALL platform as a space to host your own events, we're happy to promote it or to help co-organize those with you. We have a podcast called Chats with Steminists. Similarly, we want to highlight all the great efforts that are going on throughout the region. And also we have the Steminis network, which was launched at the end of last year. And here, what we were talking about, we really want to do sort of a collective intelligence effort, right? They're all people from private sector, from researchers, from private sector policymakers who have already good ideas to share and exchange knowledge in meetings in a virtual space and to make connections. And so here are some of the benefits to joining our Steminis network. There's a button here that you can click if you want to join us here, but already there are a lot of solutions that we're trying to co-create with this group here. And so we're very excited to scale and really activate this space. Under the Act Now section, this is sort of like it's a curation of resources and tools for all the different stakeholders and ecosystem. So you can find guidance and briefs if you're in the private sector, if you're in policy, if you're an educator, parents and caregivers. And as an example, when you click onto policymakers, you can access some of the most up-to-date tools and resources if you're interested in how do I gender mainstream skills, what are some of the policies that will help advance women in entrepreneurship? We're constantly curating this, so please take advantage of all the resources that we have here. And then lastly, if you are in the ecosystem and already have a solution that you've already put into place that have helped to advance women and girls in STEM, we want to hear about it, so you can share your solution here. And this page is really geared towards women and girls and who are aspiring to be in STEM. During the user research, we've heard that it is very hard to find some of this information. And so we're trying to put it all into one space, so it's very easy to find. You can figure out jobs and internships. You can do online learning. If you want to find someone, a mentor for advice, you can click here and find mentors. You can do it by country, so you can filter it depending on the country or territory that you're from in our region, or global. And then we also have some opportunities in entrepreneurship and innovation and research funding. So these are some of the things that our platform is really hoping to continue and to scale and to advance. And not only are we trying to help curate these resources, but if people in our community have opportunities to share, this is kind of a collective space. It's a space for you to exchange ideas and knowledge and promote opportunities. And also if you are looking for collaborations and cooperations, that's what UNDP and UNICEF are really aiming to do, is to really connect the dots. So I'm very excited about the STEM4ALL platform, excited about our partnerships and our Steminis network, and looking forward to seeing you all in the future. And then now back to Bharati.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. This platform, as you can see, has a lot of rich information, a wealth of information with a lot of detail on every page. That was a very quick tour for you, just to get a sense of what is on offer. And what we would very much appreciate is to use the interactive features, tell us how you think we can serve you better, and how can this platform really help us in our shared goals for promoting gender equality in STEM. So it's my pleasure now to move into our first session. We have three distinguished speakers who really embody the ecosystem approach that we talk about. So we have speakers from three speakers representing the government, private sector, and academia and innovation. So very pleased to welcome Valeria Ionan, who is the Deputy Minister for Euro Integration in the Ministry of Digital Transformation in Ukraine. She oversees national digital literacy programs. She also looks at the development and growth of small and medium enterprises, and also is responsible for new digital professions and online child protection. Thank you so much for being here, Valeria, and welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Please go ahead. The floor is yours. And now, sorry, before you go, I should tell you that we have, I don't know if we were going to put them on screen, but we have two questions for each of the speakers, and unfortunately we have very short time. We have 5 minutes, so I would ask you to be as concise as you can. So the first question is, how can you, as a government representative, what are 2 or 3 actions that you can put together to advance solutions that will close gender gaps in STEM? So that's the first question. And the second question is much more directed towards our platform. How can change makers like yourselves and others in the audience best use the STEM4ALL platform? So 2 questions in terms of what you're doing and how we can serve you and how the platform can help you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much again. Good afternoon to everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here today with you. So you all know the context in Ukraine. We are living in the 6th month of war because of the Russian invasion. So before the war, only 24% of people working in the IT sector in Ukraine were women. As for the previous 2 years, less than a third of graduates of STEM specialties in Ukraine were women. And of course, the full-scale invasion impacted the situation dramatically. An estimated 12 million people have been forced to flee their homes. The majority are women and children. And as of now, we can only theorize how much damage to the STEM education sphere was caused by this war. The course of the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine was direct and is direct to give as many people as possible the opportunity to upskill and to gain knowledge for remote work and regain their financial stability as quickly as possible. So the first thing is providing courses for women. Since the beginning of full-scale invasion, Ukraine authorities, in collaboration with IT schools, have started the support of a project initiated by local IT school to train 5,000 internally displaced women to enter new professions in the creative and tech industries. We see huge demand for such tech-related retraining opportunities because the application process for the first phase of this initiative attracted around 40,000 candidates. So can you imagine, just a great figure. We've also launched a project which is called IT Generation. So the main goal of this project is to help talented Ukrainians to find themselves in one of the most promising fields, to continue their work and develop the Ukrainian economy for the sake of victory and successful future of our country. About 1,000 Ukrainians aged from 21 up to 60 who have never studied IT specialties before and have no work experience in this field will be able to get this qualification. These are projects that arose as a response to the challenges of wartime, when people, and especially women, became most vulnerable. They were forced to change their career trajectories and looked for ways to master modern ones. We also have two large national projects, DIA Business and DIA Digital Education, who continue the activities. So here I would like to share a slide on DIA Business, please. It is a national project for the development of entrepreneurship and export promotion project, which has actually two components. The first one is a one-stop shop for future and existing entrepreneurs, and the second component is 11 DIA business centers, which were opened throughout Ukraine as the support centers for entrepreneurs, with free consultations on creating and running a business, and on 70 different other topics. In May, we have also launched such center in Warsaw for Ukrainians who flee from war abroad. DIA Business can be a great launchpad for women IT entrepreneurs who want to understand the mechanics of building their startup and be not only a technical innovator, but also be an entrepreneur. Now, please share the slide for DIA Education. This is the project for the development of digital literacy among Ukrainians. Its main teaching tools are educational series on digital literacy, which are created in edutainment format. There are more than 75 educational series on digital literacy and STEM professions on this platform, which are absolutely free and available for everyone. More than 1.5 millions of Ukrainians are registered on this portal and are studying on a regular basis. So this project is aimed to a wide audience and help Ukrainians, in particular schoolgirls, young professionals, and women who are changing professions, to understand the importance of development of digital skills. For example, among the 75 series, we have such topics as artificial intelligence for school children, new digital professions, programming for beginners. And what is important, that all of the series are made on Digicomp 2.1 framework, which is a European standard for digital literacy. And now we are upgrading it to 2.2 as a request and as a standard from European Commission. And as for the second question regarding this STEM platform that was presented today, first of all, that's great. Thank you so much for this initiative. I think that everyone would benefit from it. Civil servants, educators, social workers, parents, we all need to educate ourselves, and we need to change the stereotypes. And I'm sure that the combination of free digital tools as STEM4ALL with formal education, as well as the use of marketing tools for social campaign to promote STEM professions for girls and women, will gain results. We need to look at digital platforms as universal tools that can make impact to be noticed and visible in a very short term. Saying this, and I will finish right now, I would like once again to give an example of DIA digital education platform. The approach of edutainment series appears to be working because we have 80% completion rate among the users who were registered on the platform, and that's a great successful rate, I think. And about 60,000 Ukrainians have registered for the courses after the war started. So it means that people still want to want to learn and want to continue their learning even during the times of war. They understand that digital literacy, digital skills, STEM professions are very important. So once again, saying that, I think that this initiative is great, and I would definitely recommend and suggest everyone to benefit from it. So thanks again for your work. Thank you for your invitation. And here I am passing the mic back to the host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valeria. That was a very impressive horizon of the work that you're doing. And it's very, very interesting to see how the in-depth work that you're doing in Ukraine for digital literacy and for work for the future of work, you're adapting it so much for the current context for IDPs and for people on the move. And I think that's there's a lot that we can learn from what you're doing. And your two goals that you mentioned in terms of upscaling and gaining knowledge is something that is, especially for women, but not only, is something that very much resonates with us. It is a big goal of this platform, as you know, for us to really have a continuous learning and mentoring of our communities. And thanks very much for your endorsement of the platform. It's very valuable for us, and we really look forward to working with you and with all partners in Ukraine. And moving on now to our second speaker, we have Ebru Özdemir. She is from Turkey, the chairperson of the Limak Foundation, and the founder of the Engineer Girls in Turkey project, which UNDP is delighted to implement with Limak Foundation and ministries in the Turkish government. And most of all, we are very proud to have Limak as an official partner of our platform, one of the early ones, for which we really thank you. And I just want to say a few words about Ebru. She's actually an engineering graduate herself. So yes, she represents the E part of STEM. So we're delighted to have a different representation. And she manages the social investments of the Limak group of companies in Turkey. And the foundation supports projects like the EGT in Turkey, also Kosovo, Kuwait, as part of its international work. So very much thanks to you, Ebru, for being here, and welcome. And I have the same two questions for you, which is how can you, as a representative here of the private sector, what are some of 2 or 3 actions that you would like to emphasize that will help to close the gender gaps in STEM? And how can a change maker such as yourself and Limak Foundation really use and make the most of the STEM platform? So these are the 2 questions for you, and please 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the kind introduction. It's very exciting to be here, and I already saw some of the photos from our projects on the platform. So this is great. And I also would like to thank to Mirjana. When I was listening to her, I just remember how we met in New York last year, and we actually discussed about the same issue. And I also wish her success on her next endeavors. And at the beginning of my intervention, I wish peace prevails on every corner of the world, every mind and soul. Our heart is with Ukraine, and I'd like to thank Madam Minister for joining us on this platform and tell us what Ukrainians can achieve in these difficult circumstances. So I mean, it's really a privilege to listen to her. And first of all, I have to say that, I mean, gender equality and equal opportunity are the 2 things I am very passionate about. And this is actually demonstrating what we do as a company and how we position our work in all the industries that we work for, because we're generally involved in all STEM kind of industries. And unfortunately, as we all know, STEM sectors are gender unequal. I'm a civil engineer myself. So through my education, I felt this, and even now in my professional life, it's the same thing. So as leaders, we have to invest more time and effort into this closing gender gap. And as I always say, you can't be what you can't see. So we cannot succeed if we don't have positive and inspiring examples in front of us. So this platform on that sense is very important. And in the past and today, women have proved and continue to prove themselves as great scientists, mathematicians, and engineers. But it's very extremely sad to see, especially after COVID, the lack of opportunities provided to women. So we definitely have to fight for this. And the solution is the cooperation between the governments, educators, the private sectors, and civil society if we want to achieve the progress in the gender equality in STEM. And without cooperation, it's impossible. I mean, that we can be successful. We just finished building the Çanakkale Bridge, the longest span bridge in the world, with a partnership of 4 companies, 2 Turkish, 2 Korean. What we actually do is we put the best of expertise of all companies can bring into the picture, and we finish in a record time. So this is very important as well in this kind of work, in STEM work, where we have to bring different competencies and skills to the table. So how do we do that? We have, as in LIMAK, in Turkish Women Engineers program, we have the first-hand experience. So we created this successful partnership between us, UNDP, the Turkish Ministry of Family and Social Services, and Ministry of Education from Turkey onto the table. And we helped more than 700 girls to receive engineering education, and we supported in their careers by helping them to develop soft skills. Because being an engineer, I sometimes feel like I had the lack of soft skills, where we have to really help the women in developing their careers so that we follow them during their education, plus we're actually still in contact with them in their professional careers, because we don't only want engineers, we want leaders, we want project managers, we want CEOs, we want board members for these women in their careers. So we cannot be successful if we don't have the educators, community organizations, and government institutions in the picture working for us on this goal. For this reason, we created one person with different ideas, assets, and resources, and we actually created a public-private kind of approach, and we've realized that this is actually doable. So to be more specific, UNDP Turkey has significantly contributed to the project's strategic development and guidance. Ministries provided the project with access to the best educational establishments in Turkey and involved them through this education. And of course, we involved partners like Women and Technology Association to create some trainings for these girls, Boğaziçi University, European Mentoring and Coaching Council, Teaching Academy, so that we created the best for these girls. And what we did is, what we are going to do is, the effective way forward in making a project successful, sustainable, and a pioneer is creating this working together platform. And how can the change makers best utilize the STEM platform? I was very impressed, as I said. I saw these nice photos from our project, but in today's world, I see that time is very limited. So to put all the resources all in one place is a great idea. It has extensive information for everyone. So I felt like we are creating this big family under this platform. So, and I feel like this also covers the high school program, university program, UNDP Gender Equality SEAL program. And the most important thing, I think, for all the women in this world or in STEM and who are supporting the cause is to know that they're not actually alone. So we are all together. We are a family under this. And very nice to hear how much progress is being made by our fellow change makers in different countries around Europe and Central Asia. And collectively, as a community, I feel like we can create incredible results, and STEM4ALL can play an essential role in guiding and enabling this important progress. So all my friends in this platform, all our partners, all our community in STEM should know that we will leave no one behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebru. That was fabulous. Thank you so much. And we are very proud once again to have you as our partner. It's very clear from the way you spoke and all the messages you gave that why we have you as a partner in the program, and we are extremely happy about it. So thanks a lot. And I think the 2 or 3 points that you mentioned on the role of leadership, role models, and soft skills, and the whole issue of confidence and self-esteem, I think those are really crucial. And it's very much underplayed. I mean, we just think that by raising the numbers, we will solve the problem, but there are so many other issues that go into making gender equality in STEM a reality for our young people. And that's really, really very inspiring. Thank you so much. And the platform is, as I said, with an early partner was LIMAK, and Engineer Girls is a fabulous example of what we're talking about here, which is bringing so many competencies together, complementing and advancing the issue of raising women's opportunities in this field, but also raising the whole, giving a whole space for role models and leadership in a very, very challenging environment. So that's really what we're doing with you and UNDP Turkey and us here in Istanbul, and UNDP as a whole are very proud to partner with you. Thank you so much. Moving now to our third speaker, who represents the S part of STEM, Asel Sartbayeva. She's an associate professor of chemistry in the University of Bath and is also a co-founder of NCLI Tech. Her research, very important subject, is on how to transport biopharmaceuticals safely in today's world without refrigeration. It cannot be a more pressing issue now that we need research and solutions. And she's also a member of our Steminis network, which is great, and an ambassador for UNICEF's Girls in Science project. So the same two questions to you, Asel, which is how do you, what sort of actions would you emphasize as a scientist and as an innovator that will help us to close the gender gaps in STEM? And how do you think the platform can help you, and what would you most want from the platform? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, colleagues and all the participants. I come from the academia, so I'm a scientist by background, and I'm recently moving into entrepreneurship. So I'll talk, I guess I'll speak as a scientist here. So things which I think are incredibly important today to bring more girls, more young women into science is really a lot of it is talking about it. I mean, the two speakers before me have really talked about making STEM more accessible through talking about it, obviously. As a scientist, I think it's really important for us scientists to make science look more accessible, first of all, to girls, and also to make sure that we bring the message to the girls that every girl who wants to become a scientist can be a scientist and has all the opportunities today to become a scientist. So I actually highlighted 4 things I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to forget that. I'm just going to talk about one thing, which I think is really important to all of this conversation. So first thing is, when I started talking and going to schools and speaking to children, specifically really young girls, I started first by talking to 5, 6, 7-year-old girls. I found that already at that stage, girls already have been turned away from science. So some were told, you're a girl, you're not going to become a scientist. I mean, I've met that throughout all of my career, pretty much. That message has been put to me. You're a girl, you're not going to become a scientist. You're not going to be next Einstein, for example. Yeah, so that's the message which I have heard a lot of the times. So what I found is actually that we can, as scientists, bring the message that girls can become scientists from as early as 3 to 4-year-olds. And this is where I am actually starting to work with the girls at this stage. So my first message, which I really want to bring to everybody, is that you do not need to have some special skills. You do not need to be a genius. You do not need to have curly hair like Einstein has. You do not need to spend a lot of time sort of sitting in that pose and thinking about science. You do not need any of that. All you need is desire to become a scientist. That's all you need, honestly. All the equations, everything like maths, hard maths, physics, chemistry, formulas, and all of those things you can learn. And that is why we have schools, that is why we have universities, that is why we have teachers, textbooks, and all the things which are all around us, which help us to do that. But honestly, to start with, you just need to have a desire to become a scientist. And if you have that, then science is a career for you. The great thing about science is that it opens up a lot of doors. So I sort of went into science personally, not really having a lot of role models, and my role models all were male. I didn't have any female role models when I was going into science or consciously choosing science. And I think today we have so many great female role models, and we are getting better at actually bringing them out and sort of putting them on the pedestal and showing them to the girls and actually emphasizing them. So, and this is a great thing about this STEM4ALL is because it's going to help us to do this more and more, and it's going to help us to emphasize that there are really great female scientists out there who can be great models for girls who want to become scientists. So yeah, that's the main message I wanted to send here today to all of the participants who are thinking about becoming a scientist, is that you do not need to have you don't need to be a genius. All you need is just desire to be a scientist. And if you do, then obviously with hard work, you can become a scientist. The STEM4ALL is going to help you with that, because obviously you will want to have a mentor, you will want to find the network around you, you will want to bring that environment around you where hopefully your family will help you to become a scientist too, and hopefully your peers will help you too. And if you can get all of this sort of around you going, you actually can become a scientist. So that's really the message which I wanted to send. And I'm hoping that people who are really interested in becoming scientists will listen more to podcasts from female scientists who then can inspire you even further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asel. That was great. And it's really great to have a rallying call and a shout out from you to scientists, and to say that we don't all have to be Einstein sitting in the bathtub. That's a very, very important message, because the sort of messaging and self-imaging, I think, and self-belief that we have as young people influences so much our choices. And you make a really important point there about the importance of starting young, within families and communities. So that's wonderful, and you embody the journey that you have made and the success that you've achieved, both as a scientist and in entrepreneurship. And podcasts are very much on our platform as well, and we're always looking for more candidates for podcasts who can be both educative but also serve as role models. So we invite suggestions from all our partners today. So as we close out the session, I'm just looking at any questions that we've received, and it looks like we've received one for you, Asel, which is about gendered. I think they're asking you the question about early childhood education, and how can we reverse the gendered marketing strategies to avoid stereotyping?
Yes, that's a very good question, and I think it is a very important one, because unfortunately, all of our consumer life is very gender stereotyped today. I mean, if you think about it, when my daughters were born, for example, I was given a lot of pink clothes. And when I actually dressed my daughters in blue clothes, people would not even look and see that they're girls. They would say to me, "Oh, what a nice boy you have," So it's just ingrained in our head that if it's a blue, it's a boy, if it's a pink, it's a girl. We've been really fighting as a family very strongly against it. So my girls never had Barbie dolls, for example. My girls never watched Disney movies in the formative years. So a lot of the things which we actually brought as games to in the family were very gender neutral. So a lot of the things we were really conscious about it. So it's actually really, really hard as parent to do. So that's one thing which we need to do. We really need to think about it. We need to stop, think about it, and we need to do this very consciously. Then the next step is in school. In school, it's very important to educate the teachers not to gender stereotype, because a lot of the times my girls come, for example, and say to me things like, "Oh, my teacher said to me, this is too hard for you, don't do this," in maths, for example. So yeah, that's the kind of things which teachers should not be saying to girls, because it really disheartens them and it really stops them then wanting to do things. So we need to educate educators, I think, to stop this. So we need to educate the families just to stop the stereotyping in the families. And then also, I think an important thing which I've been fighting with quite a lot in all of my peer circle is to really, every time a lot of us, we're people. A lot of us have some stereotyping happening. Sometimes we talk about somebody and we say things, And I was really working very hard on consciously actually blocking this kind of phrases and then actually reversing them in my head. And actually also if I hear it from somebody else, actually stopping them and telling them, you know what, you shouldn't say this because it's gender stereotyping. So yeah, it's a hard thing to do, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done from the very early ages. Practically from baby stages, and it's really important to do it every step, I think.
Thank you so much, Azel. That was really very true what you said, and I think what you conveyed here is that every bit counts. You know, we can't look to someone else to change the behavior or to change the stereotyping, but every bit what we do in our community, in our family, it really actually begins with us. And in terms of the marketing, I think consumer behavior and consumer choices have really known to change the way marketers behave. So if there's a big pushback from consumers, then it does sort of affect the branding of companies and then makes them change their behavior. But this question is also open to any of our other panelists who would like to answer. And please, any of you who want to give your suggestions on chat, please do that as well. If not, if there's no one else who wants to speak now, I'm happy to thank you all once more. It's been very interesting, very quick and sort of like a fast express train, but we shared a lot, we learned a lot. Thank you very much for your time, and we're very happy to partner with you and look forward to working with you more intensively in the coming weeks and months. And I'm really happy to now hand over to Shiba for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bharati. What an inspiring session we just heard, and building on the messages that we just heard also on the ecosystem for girls. That's very needed from a very young age. We are now moving to an exciting part of this event to listen to and learn from the experiences of 3 panelists that we have today, 16-year-old girls, STEM leaders from 3 UNICEF initiatives in our region. So I'm very pleased to welcome Saira from Bosnia and Herzegovina, who's been a participant in the IT Girls initiative. We have Zhania, who's from Kazakhstan, participant in our first phase of the UNISAT nanosatellite program. And then we have Aizat from Kyrgyzstan, who is a mentor also in the Girls in Science project. So we're very, very pleased to have you all here. We will hear from their experiences on the STEM4ALL platform, but also their journey into their careers in STEM and their education, and also telling us about what is then further needed to further succeed in the digital world that they are in. So let's start. We're quite curious, you know, to say and to actually reflect and look into what motivated you all in the first place to pursue an interest in STEM. So let me first start with Saira, and then Zhania and Aizat can come in. Saira, over to you.
Oh, hello. Thank you, Shiva. Sorry. It's really an honor to be here today. Thank you for inviting me. So what motivated me? Well, my story starts when I was about 12 years old. I was just a regular girl in Bosnia who really liked math and solving problems. So my mother recognized that potential and tried to guide me further to my future. So one day she found this article on Facebook, which was made by IT girls. It was an invitation for the girls in my hometown, Sarajevo, for this Arduino and robotics workshop. And she wanted for me to apply. And IT Girls is an organization by UNICEF and UNDP, which somehow encourages young girls and women to try learn about IT. So I applied, and that was the first motivation in STEM for me. And it was the first time for me, I remember that day very well. I was really shy and scared because it was a new environment that I knew nothing about. And those women from IT Girls really like welcomed me and every other girl with a huge smile on their faces. And it was my first motivation. So for the next 5 to 6 years, I attended a lot of workshops and educations until today. I wanted to try a lot of things so I could find myself in one area that I want to, have my career based on. So I did that. I started with Arduino and robotics workshops. I tried a lot of different things like video editing in Adobe Premiere Pro. I tried virtual reality. I tried 3D modeling. And then I found something that I wanted to keep on working. I was on this workshop for basics of web development, also organized by IT Girls. And it was when I found my motivation, what I want to do, I found myself in STEM, what I want to do. And that's what I started researching myself and studying about it. And that's why 5 to 6 years later, today, I'm a front-end development intern at this software development company in my hometown Sarajevo called Mistral. It's really successful and big, huge. And I'm really glad to be the youngest intern ever in that company. And it's really the key for all of this was the beginning of my career and the motivation and those workshops that were organized by amazing women. And I'm really proud. I would be really proud and happy if I could motivate any girl in the world right now with my story, because you will really just do your best and you will be proud after that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sarah. Let's hear from Jania and then also Aizat, please. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it was so sweet. Well, I think, coming to the question, I think that the most thing that influenced me was my environment where I grew up. Like, I was lucky to grow up between my grandfather and grandmother. They both are scientists, and my grandfather is a professor in university. So I remember going to the science space since I was like in 2nd grade, almost 7 years old. And I've seen there like many girls, and I have noticed how magic happens in this science phase. It was so unique for me. It was like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. And inspired like that, I decided to start working with some robotic techniques. I've noticed how interestingly, like you can program those bots on Arduino. And like in 5th grade, I went to the school and specialized with IT and robotic techniques. So I took these classes with my girls' classmates. There have been like half and half girls and boys. And we built in the teams, then went on some fairs about the robot techniques. And like in 2019, when I participated in UNICEF's project, I have like worked by myself on the nanosatellite, and it was surprisingly wonderful. I got amazed by the way how like I can remotely look up the nanosatellite that's going in the sky. And I decided for myself that I really want to work with the hardware, with robotic techniques, and I have applied to university now and into the direction of information technologies. So I think like having the right environment, since you are a tiny like girl, as Asel have mentioned already, it was important for me because I have seen so many inspiring people behind me. Well, yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Aizat, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my background doesn't work today. And let me start my answer. Yes. Several years ago, I saw a woman on TV talking about the methods for preserving vaccines. And I was so curious about the fact that a woman was talking about the scientific research. Later on, I found out that it was Asil Sartbayeva, a scientist from Kyrgyzstan, yes. And the fact that Asil Sartbayeva was engaged in science in Great Britain motivated me, and I became interested in STEM. One day in our school was recruiting for the Girls in Science program, and then I decided to participate, and I was selected as a peer trainer. Then, but before the project, I wasn't interested in STEM at all, and even I didn't know any female programmers. But during the training, I understood that women can achieve everything by themselves, and it doesn't matter how difficult the path is. And of course, it gave me a great motivation to start my own journey in STEM. And after that, I started attending IT Academy, where I learned to design a website, write code in Python and Arduino. And it motivates my interest in STEM. And thank you very much.
Thank you. That's absolutely inspiring to hear all of your personal journeys from a very young age, how you've all, I should say, with a certain sense of determination, followed and pursued your dreams. You had family support, mentors, and your own aspiration in this particular field. Very, very inspiring. Thank you so much. So now we're talking about the STEM4ALL platform that we are launching today. And I know that all of you have participated in the user research that we had last year. So the content that we saw from Tiffany today, you have looked into it and you have helped us to co-create. So making the website more user-friendly, more informative for girls. So from that context, can you tell us your experiences? How do you feel about this platform? How would you like to use this kind of a platform? So maybe we can start with Aizat first, and then hear from Jania and Saira as well. Over to you, Aizat.
Okay, thank you. Last year, I was lucky enough to participate in the user research conference of the STEM4ALL platform. And at the conference, we discussed about STEM field, gender barriers, and stereotypes about women in choosing a profession. And I just really enjoyed learning about the STEM4ALL platform. And I think the STEM4ALL platform is very useful and interesting for users because we can find many opportunities for internships, for online training and work. And as get answers to our question from STEM experts. Besides, we are able to read inspiring stories of Steminis and join Steminis global network, which is just so motivating. And in the future, I want to spread STEM4ALL all over Kyrgyzstan, including small villages and towns. Now, I expect this platform will be useful and available, interesting for girls to help them make choices, express their opinion, and break as many gender stereotypes as we can. Yes. And I also hope that in the future, this platform will be available to all girls in our country. So thank you.
Indeed, very much, Aizat, and thank you so much. Jania and Sarah, over to you, please.
Okay, so I used to see the raw version of the website, like I've been in the revising group. I remember how the development team interviewed me and many other girls, and I'm so glad that they used the ideas and concepts we mentioned to fully develop its potential. For me, I think the site's most pinpoint is its inclusivity. It gives people a good take on the concept of equality in science. I think that representing girls and women in such platform helps people to understand that science and STEM overall has no gender or racial boundaries, of course. I guess that by searching for such sites, people people look for like questions, where can women reach for help, or how can we help to develop inclusivity in STEM and etc. And the STEM4ALL site can fully cover up these answers. And they made lots of articles about that. It was so great. I like how the platform provides answers for women in search, tells the real stories of women in STEM. And also I would like to mention the reliable and clear UI I've seen. It's adorable. The colors, it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saira. Yes.
Thank you. Well, it was really interesting and useful experience to participate in this user research. I really got to share my story, me and my friend Amina, and participate in here. And with all these amazing, inspiring people, it was really great experience. What I like about this page, I've seen a lot of breaking gender barriers webpage, but what is special for me about this one is that it offers us solutions, not only like the problem. We're hearing multiple of solutions, and that's what is special. I really like the part Act Now, where an example, educators can find opportunities to educate girls for breaking gender barriers in STEM. What I would like to see on this page is like more role models that I would and read their stories, and I would also like to share my story, because I believe that is the way to learn, to inspire other girls, and that is the whole point of the page, to inspire and to encourage them to be confident in what they do, and just to have confidence in themselves in this STEM field. Thank you.
Indeed, thank you so much, all of you, for sharing your innovative ideas. And indeed, and I think we will certainly make sure to continue expanding this platform, enriching the content, and meeting the various demands, as you all mentioned, for STEM for girls and women. So we are now almost reaching the end of the session. So therefore, I'd like to ask you all briefly in closing, what do you all think is needed to get more girls into STEM? And I think you've all expressed that to a certain extent. Do you have any tips for inspiring more girls to pursue STEM studies and careers? So final tips from you. I will ask to Aizat first, and then Saira and Jania, please do come in after Aizat. Yeah, over to you.
Hi, thank you. Let's start. We want to open a group with the trainers of the girls in science, where girls interested in STEM can contact us, ask questions, and of course seek support. Additionally, the group will be open for different discussions about STEM, about gender barriers, and about stereotypes and self-development. We also have an idea to make short motivational videos about impact of the program and how participants can join us. And the group will be a comfortable space for girls to share and receive their knowledge. Moreover, we are thinking of opening a consulting center for the girls with their parents, so that they can get information about STEM and support girls on their way. And we hope that our future consulting center will be available to all girls, and will help many girls get information about STEM, about lots of things with the support of their family. So thank you very much.
So I have 3 tips and tricks for the girls and advices, basically. First of all, I want to tell all of them not to be afraid of being interested or working in the STEM field, because it's often perceived as male industry. Because I believe that girls like us can prove them different, that we can make it equal and even better than it is now. The second advice, I would say, something that I learned from my own experience is that don't wait for an opportunity. You should make your own opportunities now, because nothing will come on their own. You just have to fight for it, and you should study and learn about it and do your best to make it, and then it will pay off. And the third one, the last, I advise you to surround yourself with more successful people than yourself. I think that's really important, to grow with those people, to learn from their mistakes, to learn from their successes, to be even better than them. So that would be it. Thank you.
Shania?
Oh, yeah. Sarah gave such a lovely advices, actually. I would like to tell it from my own perspective, like of a student who's just entering to the world of grown-ups, let's say. So as a teenager who just started the journey like, into the work and studying, I'd like to be secure of my own social and working positions in the future. Like, in my opinion, women should be as representative in the work and job environments as any man, and should be provided with an equal number of advantages. Like by obtaining social security, I guess girls
Okay, we've seemed to have
today.
yeah.
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 So, okay, I'll try to move on. Well, by obtaining the social security, I think that girls will be able to invest more into their personal and scientific growth. Like instead of reflecting into their own mental problems, they'll be able to invest into like their skills development, and they'll be able to juvenile their abilities, skills to be able to present their achievements in the future. Like modern society and all the technologies that we've developed, they gave access for women to work in so-called manly fields. Thus, girls now can study in STEM and be sure that they will be able to find a job in the corresponding fields of science. Now, what we need is, in my opinion, support from various partners like private sectors, governments, international organizations, of course, to provide girls and women the progressive work or study spaces, especially in STEM here. Unbiased working and social environments are the exact concepts, in my opinion, that we must look forward to achieve the gender equality in STEM. No one should be biased prior to their like gender. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jania, Aysat, and Sarah, for all of your excellent points of view, the inspiration that you've been giving all of us, your practical tips, your advice for future STEM girl leaders, but also telling us how our partners and our stakeholders within this area of work can support this area even further. So I'm hoping that other girls in our audience are also inspired, and more networks join in this area of focus as well. I'm checking if we have any comments and questions in the chat. Certainly there have been comments on, kind of greater engagement to motivate many girls to study STEM, and on social media as well. So great to hear these stories and really inspiring. Thank you for all the comments that have been coming in. I don't see any particular questions that's coming up in the chat. So once again, thanks to Aysat, Sarah, and Zania for your valuable insights. We hope to see you all actively engaging with us and giving us your continued feedback as well. I'm now pleased to pass the floor to Bharati. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiva. That was fantastic. Such inspiration from our young champions and partners. It's really an honor to partner with you, and thank you for all your great ideas. But before everyone goes away, please don't go away. We have a very short closing session, but first we want to hear from all those who have been watching us and listening but haven't had a chance to talk. So we have a quick Mentimeter exercise for you. So please go online and just say in one word, how do you think the STEM4ALL platform can help you? Just use your internet and just go to Mentimeter and use this code and just tell us how we can help you. Please. It's fantastic. Lots of wonderful ideas coming up here. Networking is huge. So is inspiration. I think that's a compliment to our speakers today who really inspired us from their personal stories. We also have a lot on connections and promotions, network knowledge, research, new opportunities, community building. I like that one. Mentorship. Yes, mentorship and role models go very much together. Linguistic inclusiveness. Thank you. English cannot be the lingua franca. Yes, we understand. We will do our best to translate. We're already going to be translating into Russian, and we will do this on a demand and need basis. Self-confidence, most important. Find role models. Yes, we invite many of you in the audience to please propose role models that we can feature and help to connect. Knowledge sharing, understanding of STEM, that's great also. Thank you very much. Are we done, Tiffany, or is there more? Yeah? Okay. So that's fantastic. Thank you. So we've got a lot from you on this exciting launch. It's far exceeded our expectations. We really, really enjoyed having you with us and having you tell us how we can serve you, what you like about the work. And you are, most important, by telling us your stories, you have really shown the path to gender equality in STEM. So very much the focus on role models, resources, and real stories. That's what I take away most from this launch event. And we hope that this will be the first of many conversations that we will curate and host on this platform. And I want to also pick up on what a number of you said, that please take this as a universal space. Please use it. It's not something that's owned by the UN. It is really a public event today, is because we want it to be used as many of you as possible. So please spread the word among your networks, your co-workers, your students and teachers. And we would be very much want to keep this very, very open and very responsive to your needs. And so whatever ideas you have, suggestions you have, this is a curated space. We will vet all the information and make sure that we publish accurate and reliable information, which one of you also have mentioned. And we want this to then take flight and help you as we reach for the sky in STEM fields for women and girls. Thank you very much. And a very big thanks to everyone who participated, everyone who helped us to organize it, Tiffany and Rui in particular, in UNDP and UNICEF, and our big thanks to all our partners and all our community. Thank you.